With continued uncertainty over when tariffs might hit and at what rate for which countries and for which sectors, Chinese EV maker XPeng seeing potential for expansion in Hong Kong and Southeast Asia. CNA's Wong spoke to XPeng's vice chairman and president, who's in Hong Kong to launch its global flagship EV XPeng X9. She started by asking him how the company is coping with tariff fallout.
We currently are not selling in North America, so the tariff between China and US is not impacting our sales at the moment. And I believe that's probably true for most of the automakers because that has not been the target market for the Chinese automotive industry. But that being said, I think the tariff will have an impact on the economy. It will have impact on the global supply chain. So some of the fact will be secondary, so we're actually doing a lot of work trying to understand what the impact is. But so far right now, it looks like it's minimal impact to our own business.
How are you preparing for further and even more volatility going forward?
Last year, we made a good success entering into new markets. Over 30 in the world, and has done very well. But I think going forward, we recognize that, especially with the recent sort of tariff talks around the world, you have to be very local. You have to really make your investments, be local brand, local service and sales practices, local team, and also in some core countries to have your own local production capabilities. And that's something I think we need to do as a company. But in general, I would say we're still very, very excited about the global opportunity.
But the EU as well has got tariffs on Chinese EV makers, and in fact 45% of EU tariffs are on Chinese EVs. EU says that they might go into negotiations with China to replace tariffs and set minimum prices for Chinese EVs. How is that going to affect your production and also your deliveries?
We always welcome advancement in discussion between trading partners between China and EU, for example. And any measure that being talked about that could potentially lower the entry barrier for our products, we really welcome that. And also, because our product is positioned as a premium brand, and also we actually have been selling well above, I would say, 40,000 euro in price. Actually, we're the #1 Chinese brand in that price category. I think the minimum pricing is something that we also are favorably monitoring. So we definitely paying close attention to all these developments, but we're hopeful that there'll be solution or advancements between the country discussions.
There are other concerns as well, for example, dealing with issues of overproduction, talking about slower demand for Chinese EVs, as well as this intense price competition. How is XPeng addressing all these concerns?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of talk about excess capacity. To be frank, I think there's a lot of, I would say, old capacity that potentially have to be replaced or upgraded. In fact, we actually have been faced with the challenge that because our demand for our product is so good, we actually face capacity constraint because we're not able to make the product fast enough or have the supply chain to help us make fast enough. So that's why I think it's a problem when you have non-competitive product, then you have excess capacity. That's why I think as a company that has innovation, design, and also leadership in product categories, I think this will be less of an issue.
Safety remains an issue among Chinese EVs. Can you talk about how you can reassure customers in that aspect?
We pay a lot of attention to safety. For example, our smart driving have a very, very strong safety aspect to it. Our battery technologies, it's actually, you probably never heard of bulletproof batteries. We actually can shoot 20 rounds at the battery pack without damaging and causing any reactions. So all of these safety features is something that we put in our car to make sure that it could be used with ease of mind.
Why do you see a lot more potential and opportunities in Hong Kong as well as in Southeast Asia?
Hong Kong is a very important market to us. XPeng is based in Guangzhou. We're listed in Hong Kong. We're part of the Greater Bay Area family, so the significance of Hong Kong is very important. Also, Hong Kong is the gateway to the world. Southeast Asia, I think, is a very, very promising market for EV. In fact, last year, Southeast Asia is the only regional market outside of China that's growing faster than Chinese EV market. Some of the countries have seen tremendous growth in EV adoption, and some of the countries still early, so there's still a lot of room and potential to go.
XPeng has said that it wants to bank on robo-taxis, bank on flying cars, and you plan to have mass production of flying cars in 2026. Tell us, how do you think this is going to set yourself apart from other Chinese EVs and also perhaps increase your ranking compared to other EV makers?
Well, as a company, we always believe that you're not just focused on making electric vehicles. We're trying to make the technology that's going to empower the future mobility changes. You see actually here we have our flying car that's on debut. This is actually not a demo. This is actually a product that's soon to be approved by the Chinese authorities later this year, and we'll aim to sell and deliver to customers next year. So it's not that far.
There are a lot of plans, obviously, as you mentioned, and a lot of optimism. But given this cloud hanging overhead in terms of the global economy uncertainty and the continuing trade war, do you believe that this pessimism might overtake the optimism?
In our business, in EV, in the last 5-6 years, every year is cutthroat competition, and if you're not optimistic, you'll be eliminated very quickly. So we have come out of that fierce competition as one of the potential winners. And I think tariff and other troubles are just another challenge that we have to face as a company. We're not much stronger. We have more established customer base, more established technology base. We feel like we have a much stronger position to compete and survive in a challenging market environment.